Hey there everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kate and it's been a while, so it is really good to see you again. This video will be just a wrap up of what I've been reading this week, and then hopefully I will also be able to film a video wrapping up what I read while I wasn't filming. But let's get started with what I read this week because it is fresh in my mind. So first, I read my very first short story collection, which I've never done before, so that was very exciting. I didn't know it was a short story collection, so that probably helped, although it made it confusing at first until I paid more attention to what was going on. So this is Battleborn by Vaye Watkins, and it is a collection of stories about the American West, primarily the southern west of the United States, and they cover they cover a variety of time periods from the gold rush in the 1840s to the present day, although most of the stories are more recent than the gold rush. I think there's just one that took place so long ago. And the protagonists are both male and female, mostly female. There's a lot of relationships between sisters and mothers and daughters and things like that. So there are themes throughout each of the stories that made it seem cohesive, and yet each of the stories was distinct. And I really liked them. And what was surprising to me, again, because I had never read short stories before, was that even though each story was distinct, I was still really compelled to keep reading after I finished each story. And that was really exciting for me. So I will be looking for more short story collections to read in the future. Next, I finished Tell Me How It Ends by Valeria Luiselli, an essay in 40 questions. This is published by Coffee House Press, and they ran a special a few weeks ago where they were selling this book for $5 because it is an important and timely book in which the author recounts her experiences as an interpreter in immigration court for children. And it was hard to read, but it was really, really elucidating on a lot of the policies and the provenance of a lot of the policies that are so contentious right in this very political moment. And so I don't want to get too much more into it, although I could probably talk about this book for a really long time. But I will say that if I could recommend like one book that I've read this year that I think would be useful for just about anyone to read, it would be this one. It is super short, it is super easy to read, and yet I think it is so important. And kind of the more this is going to sound really silly, but I've been doing a lot of reading about the refugee crisis through fiction and nonfiction this year, and the more that maybe not a lot, I've done some reading, and the more that I read, the more I realize that I really thought that I kind of had the gist of what was going on, but I really had no idea. So my biggest takeaway is continue to read more about refugees and immigrants and what the heck is going on, so that personally I can understand better and I can be more equipped to help others. Possibly be talking more about that later. Finally, the last book that I finished this month was a big departure. This is a contemporary romance novel. This is Kristan Higgins, Now That You Mention It, and it is about a GI doctor from a small island off the coast of Maine who goes to school in Boston and is a doctor in Boston. She is hit by a truck, like literally hit by a truck, and as she's coming out of her, she was knocked unconscious, obviously, because she was hit by a truck. And as she's coming out of that, she hears her, at the time, boyfriend hitting on someone else in her hospital room. And that kind of triggers a journey of self-discovery back to her hometown, which she hasn't been to for 15 years, etc., etc. It was, this is kind of a solid 3-star okay romance for me. I didn't love it, although it was very readable. I didn't like, there are repeated instances throughout the beginning of the book to the big quote unquote big bad event that had happened to the main character. And I don't like that. I get why she did it. It wasn't being hit by the truck. It was something else. And I always feel like that's really condescending to me as a reader, to be told that there's something in our viewpoint protagonist's life that they're remembering, but you're not going to tell me about it yet, especially if you do it over and over and over again. I didn't like that. And there's some other things that took away from the enjoyment of the book, but definitely didn't make it unreadable. So if you're reading contemporary romance, it's good, especially with like small town romances. This was good. So finally, sorry, I think I just jerked the camera around. Anyways, moving on to what I am currently reading. Two very different books, both of which I started yesterday, and which is kind of a funny story. So I started The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, and this is the first Octavia Butler that I've read, and let me tell you, I knew within the first 5 pages that it wouldn't be the last one. I really, really am enjoying it so far. I am, I'm not very far in the book, about 100 pages, a little less, I think. But I really like it. It's dystopian. It's about Lauren, a younger girl, teenager, who is a little different in her society and is seeing that things are about to go, they're already bad, but that there's a big potential that they're going to get worse. And it's about how she's going to deal with that. And I'm excited. And she's kind of coming up with her own religion, it seems, throughout the book, which I think is fascinating. Religion to me is a really interesting thing. So I'm enjoying that. And I had to put it down though, because it came to one of these places where she was laying out the foundations for this religion, and I wanted to mark the place where it was, but I was sitting in a different room from my highlighters and everything. So, so I'd put this down because I didn't want to get up. It was easier to just pick up another book, which makes me sound very lazy, but that's the way that it was. So I picked up a very different book. I picked up Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff, and I am not very far into this one either. Probably, am I even 50 pages? No, 20 pages in. And it's really great. So far, it starts out with a couple that has just been married, and then it kind of flashes back to just the childhood and growing up of the husband of the couple. And that's as far as I am right now, but I really am enjoying the prose and the way that it's told. So I will keep you posted on that. Those are the only 2 books that I am actively reading right this second. I am super enjoying both of them, so I can't wait to talk about them next week when I have read more of them or finished them. I hope you are having a great week, and if you've read any of these and want to chat about them, I would love to talk about them with you. Or if you have any short story collection ideas, suggestions for me, please leave it down below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.